Assalamu guys, Irfan back again with another video. And in this video, what we are going to be looking at is how can we either count the number of cells that have a particular color filled in them, or how do we add up the values that are stored in cells that have a particular color. Okay, so what we are going to be doing in this video is we will be creating two functions. Okay, one function would be taking care of adding the values that are stored in a range of cells that have a particular color. And the second function would be how we count the number of cells in a range that have a particular color. Okay, so let's get started. Right now, what we have up here is a blank worksheet. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm going to put in some random numbers here. Okay, and then we'll at random fill those, some of the cells in with different colors. And then we'll go ahead with the actual creating of those two functions. Now, these two functions we would be creating in Visual Basic. Okay, so the first thing what I'll do is I'm just going to use a random between function in Excel to generate random number between 1 and 100. Okay, and I'll drag this across 4 columns and then down here. Okay, so basically what I've done is I have at random created a bunch of numbers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight everything and Control C and Control paste as value. The reason I did that is because I had used a random function. It would keep regenerating random numbers and these values will keep changing. I don't want that. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is at random we're going to fill in some cells with a yellow color. So maybe 98 and 73, 36, 23, 44, 29, 44, 86, 55, 92. Okay, so we've got these filled in yellow. Okay, so up here what I'm going to do is we have yellow count and yellow sum. Okay, and this is where we will what we're going to do right now is going to fill these in manually, and then we'll have them the reason why we are doing it manually first is because we'll check those values against the function that we create, and then the values that the functions are generating. Okay, so we have green, and this guy would be red and red. Okay, now what is the count of this? Oh, I forgot. Let's put in some green cells also. Okay, so 1, 2, maybe 3 in here, and maybe just the one in this column, 2 in this column, and maybe we can put 3 in this column. Okay, now what we'll do is we'll fill in some with the red color. Okay, so let's let's do this. Let's these two and this guy here, and let's do this one here. All right, now so we've got all the 4 columns filled in with at random with different colors. So let's see how many yellows that we have. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So the count for yellow is 10. And how many? What's the sum? 98 plus 73 plus 36 plus 23 plus 44 plus 29, 44, 86, 55, and 92. Excel gives us a count of 10 and a sum of 580. So you plug in 580 here. Now, like I said, I'm just doing this manually for now. and then we'll create the two functions, and we'll have the functions calculate these values for us, and then we'll see whether the numbers match up or not. Okay, so green, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. It's a count of 9 and a total of 551. It's a count of 9 and a total of 551. And now let's do red. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's a count of 8 and total of 309. 8 and 309. All right. So now what we have is we have gone ahead and manually counted how many yellows we have, how many reds we have, how many greens we have, and we have manually done the sum for the values that are stored on all the yellow cells, and that comes out to 580. The sum of all the values that are stored in green cells comes out to 551, and the red cells add up to 309. Okay. Now what we'll do is we are now ready to start creating the two functions. Okay, we'll go into developer, Visual Basic. Okay, I'm going to insert a module. Okay, so here's where I start typing my functions. I first tell Excel that's a function that I'm creating, and it's called sum. And now it's going to have two parameters that you will pass into this. One would be where you know which color that you are checking for, where that color is stored, and then where are you checking. So let's see over here, if I make this a yellow, and I'll make this green, and I'll make this red. Okay, so in these two columns, here I would want the sum, and here I would want the count. Okay, so over here what the function should do is grab me the sum of all the values of cells that are colored in yellow, and here it should grab me the count of all the number of cells that are colored yellow. Okay, so basically what I'm going to do is one parameter would be this cell here, because that's the color that we are checking for, and this range would be the range that we'll pass into this function as a range to check in. Okay, so the first parameter that's going to go is color match. That's the color that we are checking, and we're going to define this as a range. And the next parameter that we want to do is the range sum, and we will define that as range as well. Okay, so in an example, this is the color match. I'm just going here, and this portion here, that's your range sum. Range sum or your count sum. Oh, sorry, range sum or range count. Okay, so let's go back here. So color match is range. This is your color match. So this will be the first parameter that will be passed into this function, and the second parameter, range sum, would be this range here. Okay, so we've got that portion done. Okay, we have told Excel that the function is called color sum, and these are the two parameters that you'll be passing to them. Okay, now what we need to do is we need to declare two variables. We will declare cell as a range, and we will declare color check as long. Okay, now what we need to do is we'll say we need to first grab, let's go back here. Now this is the first parameter. For the function it needs to be a single cell, but if you accidentally were to define a range, what it should do is grab the whatever color is in the first cell, the top left cell. Okay, So that's what we're doing, making sure that we are, we are only passing, checking for the top, top left cell in the color match range. Okay, so color check. Is equal to color match dot cells. See how Excel automatically suggests, or you can just, instead of as you start typing, it tells you, gives you a list of suggestions. So when you just type C, it gives you all the C's. Now when I type E, it gives me all the ones that have, have CE. So I'll just double click on this bracket. I'm saying rows and column index. I'm just going to go 1 and 1, meaning the top left. Okay, we're not done yet. You need to grab the color that's it is filled into the color. So what we have done is we have basically grabbed out this range. We have grabbed the top left cell, and we have grabbed the color that's stored in that cell. Okay. Now what we need to do is we need to go and check through each of these cells, okay, this whole range. And whenever you have, and basically what you do is you go here, check if it's yellow, no. Go here, check if it's yellow, yes. Okay, take 98, check here, is it yellow? No. Is it yellow here? Is it yellow here? Is it yellow here? Is it yellow here? Oh, it is yellow. So 98 plus 73. And then when you come here, 36, so you add 98 plus 73 plus 36. So it is something that you're doing repeatedly. So whenever you're doing something repeatedly, the best thing to do is put it in a for loop, for next loop. Okay, so for each cell in range sum, if cell dot interior dot color is equal to color check, then let's be just correctly spelling here. If cell dot interior dot color is equal to color check, then what should we do? Color sum is equal to color sum plus cell dot value. Okay, basically what it's saying is we have grabbed the first cell over here. Even if it's a range, we just grab, even if you define the range, it's going to grab the color of the first cell, the top left cell. Then what it does is there's the for loop. It goes here and checks if the interior color of that cell, the current cell, if it matches this cell, then you grab this value and you add it to the color sum. If it's not, then don't do anything. Okay. And we put it, and if, and now what we do is we close the for loop. Okay, so let's go through again. Here what we did was we gave the function a name. It's called color sum. Now two parameters, the color match, what you're matching, and you're defining as a range, and the range sum where you're going to be looking at. Okay, then you define two variables, and you grab the color that's stored in the first cell, the top left cell of the range, the color match. If it's just, if we did not specify a range, you just click on a single cell, then obviously it's just that cell. But if you define a range, then it's going to grab the first cell, and then it made it equal to the color check is made equal to that color that's stored in that first cell. Then it's going to check if each cell of this range, if it's equal to this guy here, okay, this yellow guy here, then the color sum variable gets added the cell value that's over here. If it's not, then it does, obviously it does not get added, and goes through each cell in this range. Okay, that's done. Now we close this window. Now let's apply this newly created function. So it's equal to color and see how it shows up. Now the first parameter that we gave was what to look for. That's this guy here. And where to look for? In this range. Close bracket. Enter. 580. See, 580, it matches like that. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lock this by highlighting this and hitting F4. So that puts in the dollar sign in front of the letters and the numbers. So columns and rows. And then when I drag it down, it doesn't change. And so when I drag this down, now green should be 551 and the red should be 309. So when I drag it down, 551 and 309. So we've got this much working. Now, we're not done yet. Now we need to create a second function that will actually go and count how many yellows we have, how many greens do we have, how many reds do we have. Okay, and then we'll put that function here. Okay, so we go back into developer, go to Visual Basic. Okay, now we are creating a new function. Okay, and this time what we'll do is over here we call it color sum. We'll call it color count. Okay, and just like over here, it needs those parameters. So we'll give it color match as range and range count as range. Okay, here was range sum. Here we have range count as range. As soon as I hit enter, Excel is smart enough to know that this function is done here because it sees this end function. So it draws a line and then tells you, okay, now this is where the new function starts. So first thing that we do is we're going to define two variables. Defining cell as a range because that's this one here. Okay. Color check as on. Okay. Now what we do is color check is equal to color match. Same thing over here. In case we had highlighted a range, we need to just grab the first cell. Dot cells 1, 1 dot interior dot color. So we've got that established. Now, since we are going to be going through each cell and counting the number of yellows, counting the number of reds and greens, because it's a repetitive task, we put it inside a for next loop for each cell in range count. If cell dot interior dot color is equal to color check, then color count is equal to color count plus 1. So basically every time it finds a yellow, it increments 1. So it's the first time it finds a yellow, the color count was starting off, the color count value is 0, so it goes through the range. So first time it finds a yellow, it adds 0 to 1, so it makes it 1, and it keeps going, finds yellow again, adds another 1 to it, so it's 2, then it comes here, adds 1 3, adds 1 4, adds 1 becomes 5, adds 1 6, adds 1 7, adds another 1 8, adds another 1 9, and then 10. Okay, so that's basically what it's doing. It's incrementing the color count by 1 every time it finds a match. and we close the if loop, and we close the next loop for next. Okay, and we're done. Okay, so here let's put in, now see, when once I start typing, give you the two choices, the color sum that we just used here and the color count that we just created. Now the first parameter is this guy here, and then the range to check is this, and I'm going to highlight this and lock it with F4. That puts dollar signs in front of the rows and the columns, so the function doesn't change. So it says there were 10 cells that had yellows in them, so that matches up. Green and red should be 9 and 8. If I put this down, it's 9 and 8. Okay. So now let me show you something else. Supposing I were to go back and to this 71, and I say, well, this column only has one red, so let me make this into a red. What happened? This value didn't change. Okay, so what you would have to do is you have to go here and hit enter. Okay, and you have to go here, hit enter, and see how the values have changed. The count now is 380 instead of 309. Sorry, the sum, and the count is 9 instead of 8. But you would have to do that every time there's a change. So we want to automate that also. Okay. So what we do is we'll go back to the developer, go back to Visual Basic. Okay. This is the sheet that we are working with, and we say it's the worksheet. Okay. Now, what we want to do is anytime you click away or click anywhere on the sheet, we should just have it covered. Active sheet dot calculate. Okay. So now if this was not 71, there was no fill, it should change. See, now it's back to, because 71 is no longer a red, so the red sum is again 309 and the count is again 8. Now if I were to make this 77 as a red, now this number has changed and the count has changed. So that's how you would use Visual Basic to create two functions, one for the sum and one for the count. So you can count how many cells have a particular color, or how many, or you can sum up the value stored in cells that have a particular color. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like this video, please kindly give it a thumbs up. And if you would like to see more videos like this, please subscribe. Thank you.